All right. Hello and welcome everyone to another edition of the Spotter Stand. Coming at you live this week from Kentucky Speedway. Again in the booth with us, we've got Big Panda BSR Pockets, BSR Hot Rod, Larry Yeager Jr., and also with us this week, Head of Guest Services, BSR Chevy Chase. Welcome, fellas.
What up, everybody? Beautiful here in the Bluegrass State, home to some of our drivers, Rick Craddock, Roger Bevins, Big Daddy Roger Bevins.
Good afternoon as I practice Watkins Glen.
Well, we had another great week of racing this week, and got some good picks to show you guys also this week. Speaking of one of our members here that lives near or in Kentucky, Rick Craddock, uh, always goes to this race, and he is lucky enough to be able to get press passes and get down in the pits, even into victory lane when they're celebrating the win. BSR Magoo, our very own Magoo from Colorado, made the trip all the way over to Kentucky. Met up with Rick Craddock at the race this week, and I'm sure they had a great time at Kentucky Speedway, being able to see this race and be back in the pits and into victory lane. Let's check out some of these picks here. We'll start out here with one from BSR Magoo. This is absolutely awesome. He's standing here with these guys, all got the big bobbleheads on. And he's even got Kyle Busch holding a bag of ghost flavored drunken cow jerky right there at the track, Kentucky Speedway. That is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. He sent that out Saturday while he was attending the race there, and I posted that on the Otis the Drunken Cow page as the banner up at the top. That was pretty cool. I thought that was really cool.
Now, who's that supposed to be right behind Magoo there?
I think that's Joe Gibbs.
Joe Gibbs. Okay,
I
yeah.
think that's all I can figure out.
Yeah, he doesn't have the driver's suit on, so it's got to be an owner or crew chief or somebody.
And he has the glasses, so yeah, I would assume that that's Mr. Gibbs himself.
That's what I thought.
And who are these other drivers here?
Martin Truex and one of them.
That's Jones. Ricky Jones.
Those all are
Eric
those all
Jones.
drivers for Joe
yeah,
Gibbs
he
Racing?
drives the Ayers cars. Yes, all Gibbs drivers.
So we got Joe Gibbs and all three of his drivers right there in the big bobbleheads. Those actually aren't them, obviously, but I mean that's pretty cool representation, and I think that's awesome that Magoo was able to get those guys to hold that drunk cow jerky up and pose for that picture. Man, that's freaking great.
I think that picture of Kyle Busch probably represents the actual size of his real head too. So
absolutely, absolutely. We've got a few more here from the Speedway sent in by these guys. This is a picture in Victory Lane, I believe, with looks like Rick Craddock holding up the drunken cow jerky there in front of that number 78 of Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, that's right when he pulled into Victory Lane right there, and Rick was there. Rick's fortunate enough to have press passes, so Rick can go anywhere he wants to, and represents Bomb Squad Racing at Kentucky Speedway every year, and he gets in there. And I'm pretty sure how this all went down was Magoo and Rick met up, and then Magoo, as always, got a backpack full of drunken cow jerky, and I'm sure he handed off some of that delicious drunken cow jerky to Rick and said, all right, while you're out there with your press pass, go take us some promo pictures for Mark and Richard and all the fine folks down in Dallas, Texas. And that's how this came about. So that right there, it doesn't get any better than that. That's how you represent your brand and your sponsor right there. And we appreciate Rick doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple more here. Let's check out this second one right there, Victory Lane. You can see the checkered flag on the ground, and look at the nice lady in the background there, that blonde with the leather on. Man, wow.
Monster Energy Girls, I believe is who that is right there. Rick
Nice
throwing
lady.
Rick throwing up the drunken cow jerky there as they await Truex to pull into victory lane there. He takes another promo picture showing that Drunken Cow Jerky gets around all over the country at the hot spots, at the rock and roll shows, at the races. It's everywhere. It's covering the United States from coast to coast and north to south.
Yeah, and we've got one more from these guys to share with you here. Also in Victory Lane here, they've already pulled the car in under the checkers. You can see all the cans down there underneath that car from the celebration that's been going on. I would bet Rick probably got a little on him. You see the windshield on that number 78 there is definitely soaked from all the celebration and the victory. And once again, Rick's got that Drunken Cow Jerky bag in the picture there for us. Great job, Rick. Thanks for sending these pics in. We all enjoy seeing this, and that's really awesome that you were able to get down there in Victory Lane and promote that Drunken Cow Jerky like that.
And I had a picture of Rick and Magoo, and I don't guess I got that to you in time. It was Magoo posted it on his page, so I don't know if you've seen that or not. But yeah, that right there that's a sweet shot right there. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, and I'm sure Mark really, really appreciates that. I know he loved that picture.
And we've got a couple others want to share with you this week. BSR Axel Foley is going to be driving this great-looking, innovative Vapors number 47 machine, painted up by, this was BSR Wings' work, is it not?
Yes, it is. BSR Wings.
Yeah, we know Furco is driving the Xfinity. Axel not able to make it on Friday nights, but Axel's driving the Cup and the truck. We've got a render of the truck here as well. Innovative Vapors number 47, another great looking car or truck. Also the work of BSR Wings, another great job, great paint job, and I'm sure that Innovative Vapors would love to see that on the track. Maybe get victory here and there.
Yeah, they're super excited about it. They are they offer vape supplies and all that stuff there in Lake Jackson, Texas, and they are an official reseller of Drunken Cow Jerky, so you can get all your vape supplies and some Drunken Cow Jerky right there at Innovative Vapors, and we're glad to have them as a sponsor of one of our cars and our trucks and all 3 series basically. So they approached us with that deal, and we were more than happy to accommodate them and try to get their name out on social media and across across all the platforms to all the sim racers and everybody who watches the Spotter Stand and watches our streams and stuff. So we're excited about it. They're excited about it. And we're glad to have them with us.
Well, let's get on to the racing from this last week. We're going to start out with Sunday night in the Sunday Nitro Series. Last week we ran at Martinsville, and once again, bringing off 2 weeks in a row, it was BSR Chevy Chase that brings home the victory at Martinsville.
Yes, followed by Poor Boy, BSR Texan, BSR Magoo, and BSR Axel Foley rounds out the top 5.
Yeah, looks like that series heads to Watkins Glen tonight for race number 6. And then next Sunday, they wrap up that series. It's a little shorter series there on Sunday nights. And the finale of that series looks like heads to Atlanta for the last race. But tonight they're at Watkins Glen to do a little left and right turn. So y'all come on out and join Axel and the guys, Chevy, and some of the other guys for some great racing on Sunday night. This is a more relaxed kind of atmosphere, just more of a fun kind of deal. It's not based on any real world series or anything like that. It's just some fun tracks thrown together for Axel and all the guys to get together and have a good time on Sundays.
That's right. We've had a lot of fun running on Sunday night. I know not everybody loves the road courses, but that's one of my favorite parts of this game. I love racing road courses. It doesn't matter where it is. Watkins Glen, I think, is the most popular. Everybody, just about everybody's got a little taste of Watkins Glen and probably run there more than anywhere else. Personally, I'm glad Axel threw it in there. I love road courses, and I'm definitely going to be there to race tonight. Let's take a look here at the points thus far in the Nitro Series. BSR Chevy Chase, no surprise, up there at the top. Look at there, my number, 201 points. And BSR Axel Foley in second, down by 11. There I am in third, down by 33. Monty Keller in fourth, down by 39. And BSR Magoo rounding out the top 5, down by 77. And hopefully all you guys will turn out tonight, and we can get a good little turnout, a fun little race at Watkins Glen tonight in the Nitro Series. On Wednesday night, we run the Truck Series. We follow the NASCAR truck schedule, and all 3 Truck Cup and Xfinity were at Kentucky Speedway this week. And this week at Kentucky in the Truck Series, it was BSR Terry Scott who brought home the victory in that number 66 Sony Craftsman truck.
Yes, he did. BSR Chevy Chase got second. BSR Texan third. Brain Fade fourth. And Axel Foley rounds out the top 5.
Yeah, that series is, the truck series is a much shorter schedule, so that puts us at this coming week. I believe that's this week, isn't it? Yeah, this week.
This Wednesday.
We head
final
to the
race at Eldora.
Yep. We head to Eldora for the final race before the chase in the truck series. So everybody's getting ready, and that'll be the last race. And then we'll line them up. We'll shuffle up. You'll finally get to see how the point system really works here at Bomb Squad Racing. And after next week, we'll accumulate all the bonus points. We'll add them all up. We'll reshuffle the deck, and then we'll do the last 10 races to determine a champion for the Wednesday night Drunken Cow Jerky Truck Series. So next week it'll be a exciting. That's the last chance to get some bonus points and get ready for the chase.
Yep, that's the one I got circled on my calendar all year.
Yep.
Yeah, Larry, a great dirt racer, and I'm sure you will do. If you don't get the win, I'll be surprised next Wednesday. Let's check out the points here in this series with just one race to go before we start the chase. Looks like I'm at the top of the board there with BSR Chevy Chase, second place down by 41. BSR Brain Fade in third, down by 48. BSR Pockets in fourth, down by 70. And Hot Rod hanging in there in the top 5, down by 81. I recall those top 5 will all be getting some extra bonus points heading in toward the chase after this final race. Looks like maybe Keith McLean right in there in 6th, 85, only 4 points behind Larry. I don't think you'll have any problem holding on to that top 5 spot.
Me and Pockets were talking about that earlier yesterday. That coming to the dirt race, I'm not too worried about falling out of the top 5. I'm actually trying to hope I can jump up and get ahead of Mr. Pockets there, but that's a tough tale with just 10 points in one race. That's gonna be hard to do.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be there, so.
Yes, definitely.
And it looks like with a 41-point lead, I think I'm pretty safe in saying that I'm gonna be able to accumulate those 2 bonus points for that top spot there, and then the other 4 will all get 1 bonus point toward the chase.
Yeah. I think even if you wouldn't show up, I think you could still probably maybe get that 2 points.
Well, I figure we've been having some good turnouts on Wednesday, so we'll have to see. But that, these standings right here for bonus points that's just one small chapter of the story. There's other bonus points that the drivers are going to get for making a certain amount of races and wins and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see. We'll focus on that, and it'll give you kind of a preview of what's to come for the other 2 series based on this series of how these bonus points are going to work after next week. We'll get them all tabulated, and then that way you'll kind of see what the drivers are faced with, what they've got, what advantage, what disadvantage they've got headed into the chase. So this will give you kind of a preview of what's to come for the Thursday and Friday Drunken Cow Jerky series also. So this is we're getting there. It's been a long road. We're in the what I call the meat and potatoes part of the series. in the summer, and the summer is moving on. We're getting closer to, we're halfway through July, so we get to August, and this thing's heating up.
And here's something to throw out there that I haven't had a chance to discuss with you, Pockets. On the oddball chase, we get a really big crowd. We are limited pit stalls at Eldoro.
Yeah, how many?
I believe it's 23, so I think we'll be pretty safe. But just so that you know that that's out there, we may have to fall to some kind of heat kind of format or something maybe if we would get too many cars.
Yeah, on the rare chance that we get too many, we'll have some kind of procedure in place, and then that'll be a popular race because the trucks on the dirt is very uncommon, unheard of. It's the only major series that actually has the balls to put these out on the dirt where all racing began, and so that will be popular. People will want to come in there and get a piece of that action. So we'll have procedures in place just in case we have a big crowd, which I'm sure we're going to have a nice crowd. We always do. So
Yeah,
we'll be ready.
I was thinking we could push over 23, which would mean we'd have to fall to some kind of contingency plan.
Yep, we got it. We'll stay on top of that, but we look forward to moving this series onto the dirt at Eldora this Wednesday night.
Now, I know there are a lot of off weeks in the truck series. After this Eldora race, do we have any off weeks before the chase actually starts, or do we go straight into the first chase race the very next week?
Hang on, I have to check scheduling here. And the first actual chase race is on the
July 25th at Pocono.
Pocono, yes.
So we do go straight into the very next week will be the first race of the chase for the truck series.
Yes, and then it looks like we're off.
And we're off 1 week and then back on, and then we'll be off a week and then back on. So it'll be kind of flip flopped and molded.
Yeah, it looks like we're off a week. We go 2 straight weeks, 2 straight weeks. Then we got another, look like a couple of week break. That chase is going to be broke up. It's going to be broke up, but it is set up to kind of, it's everything's going to come down to the same time. All these series are going to come to a completion at the same time, so all the champions will be crowned in the same week and all that stuff. But there's some, I tell you, you look at that chase schedule, that is going to be exciting because you got Michigan, you got some short track at Bristol, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Las Vegas, Talladega, another short track, Martinsville, Phoenix, Texas, and then wraps up at Homestead at Championship Week for all 3 series. That Wednesday night series, that chase right there is going to be exciting just because of you've got road courses, short tracks, super speedways. You've got a little bit of everything in there. You got Phoenix in there, which is you can't really call it it's not a cookie cutter track. It's a very unique track. So, in Pocono, it's a super speedway, but it's not. It's a road course, but it's not. It's a speedway, but it's not. It's its own kind of track. And of course, the historic Bristol short track racing on the high bank. So that series right there is fixing to get really, really fun on Wednesday nights.
I see we've got HB out there in the chat asking about the race tonight in Watkins Glen, if we're going to run the 2011 like we do in the other series or the regular game track. I believe it should be straight across the board. We're going to run the same track we normally run. Yeah, so it will be the 2011 track.
Yeah, and HB, you are the series director for Royals Trucking, so feel free to join us here on the spotter stand if you can climb up here. Get on up here.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at Thursday night. We run the Cup Series on Thursday, also following the NASCAR schedule. Ran at Kentucky this week. And once again, it was BSR Terry Scott. Not only did he pull off the win in the trucks, he also got the win in the Cup Series. Great job, Terry. Awesome victory. That was a great race in Thursday night in the Cups. We had, green flag stops. A lot of good racing, and Terry Scott did what he needed to do, brought home the victory in the Cup.
Yes, Robert Balcom got second. BSR Texan got third. Chevy Chase fourth, and Mr. Rick Craddock pulls out the top 5.
Yeah, Terry Scott, man, he was tough at Kentucky. He came in there loaded and ready to go, and he pulls off 2 wins and on his way to see if he could sweep the weekend, and we'll find out here shortly if he was able to accomplish that. But what a great win on Thursday night. He I think he kind of slid under everybody's radar there at Kentucky. You know, everybody was looking at the big dogs, and Terry's been quietly making some noise back there. You know, he's solidly in the top 5 in all the series, and he's having good finishes and stuff like that. So that was a win and a coveted bonus point for him to put in his pocket and take into the chase. So great job to him and the 66 team.
Yeah, Kentucky's always been a good track for Terry. I know he's done well there every year. He did well there last year, and you know, no different this year. He did what he had to do, pulled himself off a victory, and got himself another bonus point toward the chase. Let's take a look here at the points. Thus far, I believe we are 6 races in now to the second segment in the Cup Series, with BSR Chevy Chase holding the top spot, and Rick Craddock in second place, down by 6. We got Terry Scott moved up 2 spots to take over third, down by 10. BSR Brain Fade in fourth, down by 18. And look at there, BSR Pockets rounding out the top 5, down by 19.
Still, he's 2 spots.
And we've got what, 7 races to go in this, and I'm sitting there in 6th place, down by 33. So you've still got me by 14 points.
Yeah, it's I took a big hit there Thursday night, losing the motor early in the race due to a incident that really wasn't any of my. Just got wrapped up in something that really wasn't my doing, and lost a motor, and boy, that hurt us. But we're planning on regrouping and coming back this week. We're headed to New Hampshire. I can't tell you, I'm really excited about the flat track at New Hampshire, but that is a great track. I mean, it's very unique. There's not another track like it, and I always like tracks that are different, just because they're not the normal track, cookie cutter or whatever, mile and a half. So that'll be some great racing action coming up this week at New Hampshire.
Friday was the motor. Thursday was just unfortunate bad luck.
Maybe it was Friday.
Yeah, Friday was the motor.
I think Thursday
I noticed HB did make his way in here to the broadcasting room with us. Welcome, HB. You going to turn out and race some Watkins Glen with us tonight?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there for that.
Oh yeah, HB, a road course ringer for sure, no doubt about that.
I've always told HB that I think he's so good at road courses because he has hair just like Boris Said, so he don't even have to put that fake wig on. He's got that Said head. So
that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I think that's got a lot to do with his success at road courses, because he's got that Boris Said hair. So we'll see.
So where are we headed to next week in the Cup Series?
To New Hampshire. Flat
track.
That's
right. You just said that, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
We're going to the Hamster.
Well, I know there's a few drivers that are gonna be very hard to beat there. Robert Balcom is very fast at New Hampshire. He's great at the flat tracks. Hell, he's great everywhere. But I know he's going to be fast there. I'm sure Keith McLean will be fast. HB, Rick Johnson. It's going to be quite a few good drivers. That's not going to be an easy race to win.
Yeah, Rob. Go ahead, Larry.
I was going to say, if we get some long runs, the tire guys show up pretty quick at that track, too.
Yeah, my buddy Robert Ray driving for Balcom Mercer Motorsports. Bam! I'm sure he'll be there, because the shorter the track, the better he is, the further he gets out there, because Robert is a real short track specialist in the real world, and has had a lot of success in the real world of racing at short tracks around the Tennessee area. And so I'm sure he's looking at that schedule, but excited about going to New Hampshire flat 1 mile track. That's right up. That's his forte right there. So everybody will be looking at the 118 bound motorsports car to be pulling into victory lane there and as the guy to beat. So well, that'll be an exciting race next Thursday.
Sure will. A lot of possibilities going into that race. Fuel mileage, tires, yep. A lot of different scenarios can happen there.
So let's take a look at Friday night in the NXS series, the Xfinity, also at Kentucky. Now, after that Wednesday night race, the trucks, we run the NXS with the CTS physics, so it's the same setup that everybody used on Wednesday night. And after that race Wednesday night, Terry Scott pretty much dominated that. I know when I was behind him in second place in that truck race, I was lucky to be able to get within about 3/10 of his bumper. He had something that nobody else had, and nobody could really keep up with him. And I asked him about the gear and the tape, and he happened to share that a little bit reluctantly, but he shared it with everybody on Friday night what he was running gear and tape wise.
Yeah,
And
yeah, but I still don't think that was him getting in that incident was what killed him. I still believe he would have won Friday had he not gotten that accident.
Yeah, he nearly pulled off the sweep and won all 3 races at Kentucky, but a little bad luck is all it takes sometimes. And this week, it was BSR Nelly that brought home the victory in that Medicine Chest Pharmacy. Good-looking car brought home the victory at Kentucky.
Yes, followed by Chevy Chase, our own HB Hardy. Terry Scott did manage to get 4th, and BSR Burko rounds out top 5.
Yeah, part-time driver due to scheduling and work in the real world. The 103 driver of the Medicine Chest Pharmacy, White Bear Lake, Minnesota. Owner and operator, our good friend BSR RJ Rusty. Nelly, lives up there in Minnesota and proud to be associated with RJ and the Medicine Chest. And he part-timer and he done slipped in there and stole that win. I don't think anybody was counting on the 103 showing up, but when he pulled up and unloaded, he was fast right off the truck and he put it in victory lane. So congratulations to Nelly.
Yes, Nelly was really good.
Now, is the Xfinity Series run next week, or are they off? Where are we going to be headed to
we're
next
headed
Xfinity?
we're headed to New Hampshire in the Xfinity
New
Series next
Hampshire.
Friday night for the Drunken Cow Jerky Friday night series. So yeah, we'll be at New Hampshire. We're gonna camp out at New Hampshire for the week. Looks like.
Yep, see that, and it was Friday night that you whooped the motor on. Like it's the same incident with Terry Scott. I got his damage, I believe it was.
Yes, it was Friday night that I lost the motor. That might be my first DNQ of the season right there. I don't remember another one, but that was that one hurt. That stung a little bit.
Yeah, sure did.
The Xfinity Series, a few less races in the Cup. We've got 13 races in each segment in the Cup, and I believe there's only 11 races in each segment in the Xfinity. And we're just about halfway through this second segment here in the Xfinity. Let's take a look at the points. It's BSR Chevy Chase up at the top with BSR Terry Scott in second place, down by 10. BSR Brain Fade in third, down by 22. BSR Hot Rod in fourth, down by 31. And there again, BSR Pockets rounding out the top 5, down by 45.
And it doesn't say it, but Pockets actually slid a spot in the point standings. I don't know why it doesn't reflect that, but because I was in 5th last week and Pockets was in 4th, but with his bad luck, he slid 1 spot.
Yeah, he
And
slid back a
Texan,
little bit, and look at there. I'm right on your
yes.
heels there in sixth
That's
place,
what
only down by 2 points to Pockets there.
And it doesn't say it there either. Yeah, but you come up a bunch of spots there, so I don't know why it doesn't reflect it right.
Yeah, so at least you know what to expect coming up in these next few races. Headed to the chase when you.
Oh yeah. I'm going to be watching out for that number 38 hot Drunken Cow Jerky car.
Yeah, because we're fighting for that that top 5 spot, because that top 5 spot is the cutoff for the bonus point. So somebody's gonna Somebody's
I'm
gonna fall out of
I'm
there somewhere.
yes, and I'm planning on trying to run and hide. Run and hide. That's my whole objective is to run and hide. Like
Yeah,
last night in the late night race, I told you I was running and hiding from pockets.
yep. Those points are going to change. They do every week, so we'll see how that shakes out. But we definitely got our eye on the 201 and the 65 to see if we can maintain our position in fifth place there. But it'll be exciting as we head to New Hampshire Friday night for the Drunken Cow Jerky Friday Night Series.
Yes, and on Friday night after we finish up with the Xfinity race, we also run a second race Friday night, a late night dirt series from Boyles Trucking. Also, well, always run at the Devil's Bow. We call that our home track. That's in my hometown here, Mesquite, Texas, the Devil's Bow. And we have some great racing there every week. This last week, I think a lot of us were saying that this may have been one of the best races we've had since we started running this track. I know we had about 70 laps, I think, of green flag racing right in the middle of that
Yes.
race. And
Yep.
man, that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good racing. I know Brain Fade and I were racing each other real hard and Brian Boyles was right there with us as well. We were racing. Brain and I swapped spots literally every other lap. I would pass him going down into 1 and 2, and then I would push up a little bit high, and he would get me right back down in 3 and 4. And we had a battle, and we had a lot of fun at that race. But it was Eli 114 brought home the victory in the dirt series on Friday night at the Devil's Bowl.
Yes, spoke by Rick Johnson is Chevy Chase, BSR Pocket, or BSR Hot Rod, and then BSR Texan rounds out the top 5.
Yeah, that was a great race. It's always a great race down there at the Madness in Mesquite, sponsored by Brian and Kathy Voiles over at Voiles Trucking with support from our friends at Drunken Cow Jerky. That series is just, that group has really gelled, and it's the on track action just gets better and better every week as people get accustomed to that track and get their cars dialed in for some great dirt track racing action. That series is just really taken off. It's one of the funnest things we do all week, and we're just excited for it to continue. And thanks to Brian and Kathy Voiles over at Voiles Trucking for all the support they give us to be able to do that series. It's a lot of fun. It's something a little bit different for us to do, and we go back there every week, every Friday night, just like they do at the real track there in Mesquite. It's a kind of a set up that way as a tribute to dirt track racing at your local home track, and that's what we do on Friday nights, and it's always a blast. Those dirt cars are different than any other form of racing we do, and it really is exciting.
I believe we're about 4 races in to this series so far. Let's check out the points here as they stand. Looks like Eli up there in the lead, holding that top spot. BSR Hot Rod in second place, down by 9. Pockets holding on to third there, down by 22. Actually, he's tied with Chevy Chase for third place, also down by 22. And BSR Furco rounding out the top 5, down by 26.
Yeah, those points are tight.
Yeah, with 6 races to go, it's just, it's anybody's game up there, all the way back to, Magoo in 7th, only down by 40. Brian Wolves down by 53. I believe he's missed a race. Probably Magoo has also missed a race.
Yeah, Magoo missed because he went to Kentucky this week, so he had to miss. And Steve Looney, he's a fantastic dirt track racer. He wasn't able to be there Friday night. He had some problem with the tree in his front yard, so he got that all sorted out and was able to show back up Saturday for the Voiles Trucking Speedway Series. But yeah, Steve's a threat. There's a lot of great races. Those points will shuffle around, move around, and we'll follow all the action there at the Voiles Trucking Late Night Dirt Series right here on the spotter stand for you every week.
Now on Saturday night, we run the Battle of the Six Flavors Team Series, sponsored by Drunken Cow Jerky. This is season 35, 35th season of this team series, and each season having 10 races. You know, at the end of this season, we'll be 350 races in to this team series. Great accomplishment here. This is probably one of the best series as far as bringing drivers together. You get paired up with different teammates every season, so you're always working with somebody different for 10 races. And you know, like we've mentioned several times before, if you've got some guys in the league that you just don't usually talk to, you don't usually run with, and you get paired up with them in this series, and you know, at the end of 10 weeks and 10 races of working together, you've made a few new friends. And that's one of the best things about this series, is it really brings all the members together, and you get to know everybody that you're racing with in the league.
Absolutely. That's the concept right there, is to get everybody to on the same page, working together towards a goal of mutual success for their team, and representing our sponsor for each flavor out there on the track with customized cars painted by our WLS Graphics, our good friend Tim Scarborough. And that is our, you know, Bomb Squad Racing started years and years ago, and we were a super speedway specialist series and server, and this is kind of our tip of the hat to always being super speedway specialists, and this is our series to showcase that, and it's always a great time.
It's kind of always this kind of reminds me of the old IROC series. Like it's in a way.
Yep.
Now this week's race, awesome racing. We went the entire race, 60%, 65% race. No,
110 laps, wasn't it?
yeah,
55%.
Oh, we moved it down to 55.
Yeah.
Yeah, no yellow flags in the entire race. The whole race went green. A lot of green flag stops. Cars having to work together to try to catch back up to the lead. And once again this week, it was the Teriyaki team, BSR Pockets, bringing home the victory for his team again this week. Great job there, Pockets. Awesome race.
And I tell you, that was redemption for me for this week, because I had as rough a week as I've had all season long, and I kept thinking, well, at least I've got Saturday night. So I was up on that wheel. I was determined, and with a lot of great help from my teammates, Ray Fitty and BSR Momo 54, we were fortunate enough, lucky enough, nailed our pit stops. You know, that race had 6 green flag pit stops. That's a tough thing to do to when you're pitting with the best guys in super speedway racing, is to maintain that lead the most laps, and pull off the victory. We were very excited about that, and that made us feel a lot better about a rough week that we had. That actually kind of erased all the other bad feelings that we had all week long, and pulling that 38 Teriyaki car into victory lane kind of took care of all the other bad things that happened this week. So we were very excited about it, and great race. I mean, there was a lot of strategy being played, a lot of like I said, there was some people trying to sell some other people on strategy, and a lot of communication about how to advance their position. So that was a great race, and that was just a typical great Saturday night team series, Battle of the Six Flavors, sponsored by Drunken Cow Jerky.
Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely trying to sell that original team on coming back to get us, me and my teammate Chevy Chase, one of the Reaper cars, BSR Brain Fade. We were all running together, and the lead draft was only down to just a few cars, and 2 of them were the original cars. And I was trying to sell those guys on coming back, because we were only 3-4 seconds off the lead, and if they'd have dropped back to us, we would have been able to draft up and maybe had a chance to get by the leaders. But Larry had to go with his teammate there, DJ Champ. DJ wanted to stay up there and do the best he could to try to get the victory. So it turned out the way it did. Once again, that's what it takes, is teamwork to pull off these victories here. I believe that is 2 wins in this season so far for Teriyaki, and it's showing in the points here. They have the lead.
That's,
They have the lead 12
they
points
have
ahead of Beer Bake.
three wins.
Teriyaki has 3 wins.
Pockets has 2 by himself. Momo also has a victory, and he's teriyaki also. So
That's
so
right.
3
There
wins.
you go.
3 wins.
That's the deets right there.
Well, they've got a good.
The foot doctor keeps trying to get everything.
But yeah,
Don't
Texan's
you
trying to
worry
block
about
all that out. He's trying to
Yes.
he's trying to mentally block
I'm
out
trying to
the
minimize
success that
here, you know.
Yes. He even skipped all the excitement from the Friday night dirt race.
Yeah.
Well, Yep. Even though Teriyaki's got that lead, it's still pretty close up here for these top 3. Beer Bacon only
Yeah, it's
down by
still
12, and Reaper's only down by 15. Hot Team maybe with a little work to do. They're 23 points out. Original 29, and Ghost has really fallen back there. They've had some trouble with missing teammates this season. We've been doing all we can to add a racer to their team every week. But they're sitting in last, back by 40 points with about 4 races to go in this one?
5 to go, and
5
we
to go.
talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that Saturday night. I mean, you're not there. There's nobody's safe with 5 races. That we're at the halfway point. 5 races, anything can happen. Especially the way this series is structured with the teammates and the points that you can gain or lose. It's like a brand new ball game every week when you go in there on Saturday. So this is it's not over by any means. We're just Teriyaki's just fortunate enough to be enjoying some success in the first half of the season. Now we got to continue that streak and try to hold off all those other teams, because it's like I say, you get out front like that, you have painted the bullseye on your back for all the other teams to and people are going to start buying what Texan is selling when he starts trying to sell those things.
I do know that if DJ wouldn't have wanted to go, I would have went back, because I was helping Texan and Chevy pretty much all night, because they had helped me earlier in the race. So I was trying to help them all night, and I would have moved back and helped them get there. I would have did that.
And I promise you, if y'all had to come back, we would have let you guys have the win, and we would be glad to finish. If you look at the way those points are structured there, we could afford to finish behind Original, but we needed to be in front of Teriyaki. So long as we were able to get past Teriyaki, we would have gladly let you guys take that win.
My theory is, Texan, even if you gain 2 points on me, you're not as far ahead as Teriyaki. So that's the whole deal right there.
Yeah, well, with that, if you guys had taken that victory there, that's an extra 3 points for the win. So you would have been closer to Beer Bacon, even if we had to finish second place to you, and you would have been a lot closer to Teriyaki if they'd been forced back to third or a fourth place finish.
But that's what I'm saying. Even if we lose that 3 points to you, it isn't as bad as losing the 12 points we lost to Teriyaki. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And like Pockets was saying earlier, at this point in the season, and people start seeing these points, this is where you'll see all these other teams kind of start to maybe work together against Teriyaki, and it's going to make it that much harder for them to be able to pull off these victories. As green as these races go, we have very few cautions in these races, and it is difficult to make all of those pit stops perfect. That's what you've got to do to stay on the lead draft, is you've got to make them all perfect. One black flag, one missed stop, or have to back up, and you're off the lead draft. So it's not that easy to stay up there. But Teriyaki definitely got the team to do it. That's a great team, and if anybody can, I think they can do it.
But here's another food for thought, Killa and Chevy. My first season ever running the team season, I was with you and Texan and Chevy, and we were in the Teriyaki cars, and we were 12 points back about the same time of the season, and we came back and almost won. We had one bad race right at the end, and it hurt us, but yeah. So I know you guys can do it. I've seen you guys do it. So Yep, Teriyaki better be watching over their shoulder now.
Hey,
Well,
Texan, I need to back up a second back to Friday night.
10-4.
Friday night, those of you watching the stream are thinking, what race did I watch? That's not the way it ended. No, it did end with Pockets taking the checkers. But we have rules, and rule is there are no unclaimed cautions. So Pockets brought up the fact that I don't know if that was my fault or not. You guys need to review it. After further review, the admins decided that it was indeed Pockets' caution, and he was moved back in the field, and that's why you see Eli as the winner. I just thought I'd bring that up for those who thought they were in a time warp.
Well, we purposely skipped over that. But yeah, that's exactly what happened. Like I said, we've got rules, and even the head admin is not immune to them. So he got moved to the back, and Eli brought home the victory.
I wasn't. It wasn't to bring up anything other than the fact that there are rules to be followed, and we follow them to the T. So that was my only point.
Yes, and on another note, Brain Fade in later had brought up an incident that happened with Virgo, and he has been penalized also.
Yeah, so it's just an example of these other places that you race. If you feel like that just because the admins are the ones who make the calls and stuff like that, that doesn't. Everybody's treated equally here. Everybody abides by the same rules. Everybody's subject to the same penalties and everything like that. And we have a system in place to where if an admin's involved, they don't even get to weigh in. It's determined by other people. If anybody's involved in an incident, it's determined by other admins and stuff like that. And we're fair with everybody across the board. And another thing I'd like to point out too is that, people make mistakes, and we don't hold that against you. We understand that racing is racing, and racing is about making mistakes, because no one in racing is perfect. We don't park you. There's no two in parks here or nothing like that. The only thing we require you to do is be a good sport. If you make a mistake, you apologize. We don't put your name out on the internet or in a forum and name and shame you that you did this or you did that. We take into consideration that you came and you supported our league and you made a mistake, and we take that as just part of racing, and we race on to the next week. No hard feelings, and everybody enjoys it, and everybody's treated fairly and equally, and we feel like that's a big part of our success is the way we treat our drivers. We don't hold those mistakes against them, and we don't have anyone here that does anything intentionally that needs to be penalized for stuff like that. It's just mistakes that happen in racing, and we have a system in place that takes care of that. And so that's part of our success, and we appreciate the people that come here and race, and we treat them with respect, and we don't hold it against them or point it out to people that they make mistakes. So we like the way we do that.
Yes, we have all thought Mr. Pockets finally got his first dirt win.
Yeah, that was
Which
a
is-
tough one.
Which is
Yeah,
all
that is a
overdue.
tough one to get your first one and then have it taken away from you like that. But you still did it. You still did it, and hats off to taking the penalty and taking it on the chin, and Pockets will be back next week making another run at that win.
I do know one thing. I definitely know how Robert feels now.
Absolutely.
You remember Robert's first week on the dirt, right? You remember that, Pockets?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's part of that deal. And from losing the motor Friday night, having a not so good finish Wednesday and Thursday, that was all motivation for me to put that teriyaki car in victory lane at Daytona. So it all come out in the wash, so to speak. So I'll take that win. I'll take all the other bad things that happened to get that win in the Saturday night team series battle of the six flavors. So you got to take the good with the bad in racing, and there's, that's every week. You gotta get what you can get.
We'll see. We'll see how the redemption pays off in the long run.
Absolutely. All I know is that just like Saturday night, I'm sitting here being quiet, listening to all y'all talking, but don't think me and the 54 and the Ray 50/50 ain't aware of all the different strategies that can be played. We know we got the
I'll
bullseye
just
on our back.
I'll remember if the help paid off. That's all I'm throwing out there.
Well, that's one thing about
Absolutely.
that team that's got you guys up there in the lead is that all three of those drivers, all three of you, Ray 50, and Momo are great in the pits. Generally, usually going to get a good pit stop almost every time, and one of you is bound to be on that lead draft at the end of the race. So, yeah, it makes it tough to beat when you've got three guys that can pit like you guys do.
Yeah, we talked about that Saturday night. We discussed. We said, look, we don't have to, be too aggressive on pitting. All we got to do is just get in and get out. Don't get no penalties, and we should be okay. And that plan worked out real well. I know that Larry and DJ, they were on a little bit different strategy. They were planning to play the wild card there and do something a little bit different. That's why they kind of wasn't buying what you were selling. But as we were listening to that conversation, I was looking at my F2 and looking at the times and everything, and I was thinking to myself, nobody covers all the different scenarios better than that 201 Texan, and that's why he's trying to sell them that. And I was actually surprised that they didn't buy it, because we kind of discussed it. We were concerned about it, and that's just part of all those strategies that go together on that Saturday night deal. I mean, we could spend 2 hours talking about all the different strategies that can be played in a team racing atmosphere, and that's just part of it. And that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah,
I also know that after DJ got into the back of Momo, I could have definitely changed the end of that race.
One thing I'm always looking at is where the other teams are, who's behind us in points, who's in front of us in points, who can we afford to finish behind, and who do we need to finish in front of. And that's why I was trying to sell them that come on back and get us, because I knew what it would do for both of our teams if they had done that. But it doesn't always work out that way. 12 points back's not too bad. I think we've still got a chance to make a run at you guys before the end of the season.
Team racing is the only form of racing that you'll see where you will give up a position to gain a position. That's how the strategy works. You've got to always look at the big picture. You may settle for a second or third place, and it may actually advance you up the standings depending on where your team is. That's just part of the scenarios that we talk about that make it so exciting on Saturday nights.
Well, also on Saturday night, after the team series is finished, we move over to the Boyles Trucking Speedway Series, and we've got the series director, H.B. Hardy, in here with us this week. And I've got to give a hats off to him for the way they have structured this series. This is the only series we run that actually has stages and stage bonus points in the series. We run a stage one. At the end of stage one, there's no caution. We just keep on racing, but there is a winner. A first, second, and third place will receive stage bonus points at the end of stage one. Same thing at the end of stage two. And, of course, the end of the race, you've got your regular race points. And HB this week at Indy absolutely pulled off the hat trick. He got the victory in stage one. He won stage two, and he brought home the victory in the race as well. Maximize those points for HB this week, man. Great job. You couldn't have done a better job at Indy. Congrats.
Thank you, man. That was a lot of fun. That 3 or 4 lap segment we had between me, you, and Rick, where we were 3 wide there for a bit. That was an absolute blast in that race.
Yes, that was. You don't often see 3 wide at Indy, but we absolutely did go 3 wide. It was on the straightaway. And everybody got clear by the time we got down to the turn. It was only 2 wide. But man, that first segment of that race, the three of us were just battling it out. The whole run, we were all close to one another. There was a few position changes, and that was a lot of fun. That was a great race.
A lot of action, and again, no costs. There wasn't any cautions in that race,
Nope.
was there?
Nope.
No cautions. No cautions.
That's a testament to the great drivers that come out and support the Voiles Trucking Speedway Series. Again, thanks to Brian and Kathy Voiles over at Voiles Trucking. They do a great job supporting that series, and it's it's something unique. We try to kind of simulate the stage racing and stuff like that. And our buddy HB Hardy does a great job as series director, along with Rick Johnson, and they've put something together that's unique and fun for us to do on Saturday nights, because we just love to race. That's why you see these. We race on the weekend. We race 2 races a night on Friday and Saturday. It's just because we love to sim race. That's what we like to do, and so that's why we got these late night series going, because we'll race one race and then we'll go to a different venue, a different mod, and we'll race again, because on the weekend, we've got a little more free time on our hands, and these drivers come out and support us, and it's that just shows our love of sim racing, and we run a lot of races every week, but we run 4 on the weekends, 2 a night on Friday and Saturday, and so it's always a good time.
I believe there's only 2 races to go in this series. Is that right?
Yep, we
Yes.
got Richmond, I believe,
Next week,
and then the following week is Michigan, which is the finale, so that should be a blast.
Oh yeah, Michigan's a great race, great track to race on. That'll be a great race to finish up the season on. Let's take a look here at the points in this series. We've got Robert Bauckham up there at the top with a commanding lead over Rick Johnson in second, 87 back. Monty Keller in third, down by 147. BSR Hot Rod in fourth, down by 165. And Pockets rounding out the top 5, down by 167. Now,
Balcom.
Robert was there last night. You got to hand it to him, because I know he was tired. You guys know he was
Yes.
tired. You could hear it in his voice.
Racing on his lawn chair.
Yeah, racing on his lawn chair. He has done a great job in this series. As we all know, he's a great racer, and with these segments, he's really done a good job in always being, if not winning a segment, being in that top 3 and getting some extra bonus points every single week. And that's why he's got such a big lead over second place there. He's just really done a good job. And, hats off to him for showing up last night, being as tired as he was, to keep himself up there in the front.
Hey, and you talk about enjoying sim racing and dedicated to sim racing. Robert Ray is in Panama City, Florida on vacation, takes his computer, his wheel, packs it up on vacation in a hotel, sitting in a lawn chair, racing.
He even had to buy a router so he could get connected. How about that?
Yes.
That's dedication. That's dedication.
There's no one out there that shows more dedication to racing than Robert Ray, and that right there will show you, as my first venture into a team ownership kind of deal. Now you know why Robert Ray is the driver of the 118 BAM Motorsports car, because I was fortunate enough to be not only friends, but be associated and part owner with Robert in BAM Motorsports. Now you know why I took that deal and was glad to take it, because of the dedication that guy has. I mean, who else does that? Takes his wheel and pedals with him on vacation.
Not to interrupt. I'm going to go over the top 5 because we kind of skipped it. We did HB1. Rick Johnson got second. BSR Texan got third. Robert Balckham got fourth, and BSR Hot Rod got fifth.
Yes, and in our segments, as I mentioned earlier, HB swept. HB won stage 1. Rick Johnson, I came in second.
No, Texan got second.
And
two.
Rick Johnson was third in stage 1. And stage 2 was basically the same. HB took the victory in stage 2. I was in second, Rick Johnson in third. And then when it came down to the end there, we just swapped around. Rick Johnson ended up coming in second, and I was able to pull off a third place. I made a mistake there in that race and pitted one lap early. Really, I don't know if it was a mistake. I kind of had to. My right front tire went red. I didn't save very much tire in that run, and I had to pit or risk blowing a tire on the very next lap. So when I came out of the pits, I was a lap and a half short on fuel, and I had to clutch it. I had a big lead, I think about 13 seconds over HB and Rick Johnson, but I had to clutch so much on every straightaway. They were able to make up that 13 seconds and get by me. Of course, once they passed, I had just about saved enough fuel, but I still wasn't able to pass either one of them and get a victory. I was sputtering there on the last lap, barely able to bring it across the finish line to finish.
Yeah, I thought I had ended up messing it up because when I saw that you pitted with about 22 to go, I knew we could get something 18 to 19 laps on a fuel tank. So those last 3 laps before I had to pit, I clutched probably just as much as you did at the end of your run. And when I went in the pits, I saw I was 2.5, 3 laps ahead. I said, "Oh man, I think I oversaved," and because you, like you said, you were about 13 seconds ahead. I said, "Man, I think I just threw this one away," but ended up being able to storm up there towards you with Rick, and it was all history after that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, I
hoping I
should.
would have enough tire from all that saving. I'd saved a lot of tire, a lot of those front tires toward the end of that run, but it still just wasn't enough for the last couple of laps for me to get up there and even get a second, much less to try to pull off the win.
Yeah, I should have pitted when you did, HB, instead of staying out to lead the lap. Kind of cost me a little bit.
Yeah, all in all, it was a great race. It was a fun race.
Let's go
Was there
over.
any cautions? Were there any cautions?
No
No
cautions.
No cautions, and it's worth noting. Anybody that wants to be a part of that series right there, get with HB and find him on Facebook and see about getting in that series, because we got plenty of room for that series for those of y'all who stay up late on Saturdays looking for some good racing. That's an outstanding, and the Voiles Trucking Speedway Series is that's our race where we do fixed sets, because Bomb Squad Racing is not a fixed set league, but we made a concession to be able to give people who enjoy fixed set, we gave them an arena to be able to come and enjoy fixed set racing where everybody has the same set and everybody's on the same page, so to speak, there. And for those who enjoy fixed set racing, that's the series to do it. That's also our jumping off point for anybody that would like to maybe see what Bomb Squad Racing is all about. That's your jumping off point. You come in there, that's the proving grounds for Bomb Squad Racing. You come into the Voiles Trucking Speedway Series. You come in there and it's kind of a tryout process, and if you're the type of person and racer that can make it in there, then we'll advance you into the top series at Bomb Squad Racing. So anybody that's interested, contact HB and he'll get you hooked up.
And it's not like you got to come in and be dynamite and win. You just got to come in, be a very sports conscientious person, and
Yeah, good attitude is what most of it is all about. Not all of us can be fast every week at every track, so long as you're a fairly clean racer and you've got a good attitude and able to understand that accidents happen and nobody's trying to wreck you on purpose, and good sportsmanship is what it's mostly about here. Let's go take a look at the change in the bonus points this week, since we've had a few races. In our truck series, it was BSR Terry Scott bringing home his first victory in the truck series, adding another bonus point towards his chase. You can see he's moved up to 2 over there in the total bonus points. And like Pockets mentioned earlier, with only one race to go, at the end of Eldora next week, we'll be adding the totals. Everybody is going to get bonus points according to how many races they've showed up to in this series. Some will get the full bonus points for every single race. Some will only get, partial, depending on how many races you've showed up to. You'll get bonus points for at least those. But that total bonus points column is about to fill up next week, and we'll see where everybody's going to be heading into the chase.
Boy, and I tell you, I've noticed, Tex and I talked about this earlier today, that it's amazing that the top tier drivers who are just now getting their first win in some of these series, there's been some repeat winners, but there's been a host of a lot of drivers who have had success in getting those bonus points for winning a race. And you got the bonus points for attending the races and stuff like that, and that'll just show you how much the competition level has stepped up for the 2018 Drunken Cow Jerky Series races. I mean, it is through the roof. The competition is fierce. With when you come on the spotter stand and you talk about Terry Scott getting his first win in the Truck Series, that's unheard of. I mean, it's just unheard of. The level of competition is just, it's off the chain.
Yeah, it's been a very tough season this year. A lot of drivers have had struggles to get a victory. Drivers that last season before would have had multiple victories by this time in the season are struggling to get that win, and Terry pulls one off here right before we go into the chase. Now let's see here on the Xfinity Series. It was BSR Nelly. Nelly brought home the victory. That's his third victory in this series for the season. And if you look over there on the totals down at the 103, that moves him up to 14 total. He is now tied for second place with BSR Pockets and HB Hardy as we stand going into the chase. You got myself, Rick Johnson, and Chevy Chase currently in the lead with bonus points there at 15. And then those three are down only by 1 point with 14. And you've got Terry Scott and Brain Fade, and currently holding the third spots with 13 bonus points. You can see quite a few other drivers in there with 12 and 11. It's going to be pretty close. We wrap up this second segment and add those segment bonus points and your race attendance bonus points. I don't think, I think there's still going to be 3 or 4 drivers tied for the lead. Same with second. There's going to be about 8 to 10 drivers that are all within 3 points of the lead going into the chase. So it's going to be tight and it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that we're going to take these bonus points. Everybody's going to have their bonus points. We're going to go into that first race, the completion of that first race. This whole story is going to be turned upside down. Then you got 9 races to get it done. And that is going, each race every week, the intensity is going to ramp up, and it is going to get more and more exciting as the weeks go on. And this is going to be the most exciting sim racing series in all of sim racing right here. This thing is going to get, it's going to get crazy.
Yeah, it's difficult to put together a string of 10 good races at the end of a series. Even for the best drivers, some bad luck is bound to happen here and there. Accidents happen on the track. Motors blow. Somebody, maybe trying to run a set just a little bit too loose. But you're going to have to put together 10 pretty good races. Sometimes all it takes is one bad race, and you finish back out of the top 15. That could be it for your chase, So yeah, we're definitely going to be looking to see what happens at the end of the season here.
Yeah, and the Thursday and Friday night series, you throw in the great equalizer, Talladega, the wild card. It's going to be, you look at this schedule, and there's some tough tracks, and it is just going to be, I hope everybody's ready for this because it's going to be wild.
Yeah, the Talladega, it's completely different when it's in the chase. I think, at least for me it is. It's totally different running the super speedways in a chase format than during your regular season. You may take some risks you wouldn't take, in a normal season. Once it comes down to the chase, I think you're going to see a lot of guys that are going to be real careful in that race up until, of course, the end. Once we get within 10 to go, I think that's when it's going to be, you know, everything's going out the window. It's get what you can get, and there may be some heartbreak and disappointment at Talladega in the chase.
Yeah, you gotta definitely play defense with your points when you roll into the wild card race at Talladega. That's the one
Yeah,
everybody's looking at. That's the one. Some of these tracks we're going back to for the second time. Some of them are just it's Talladega though is planted firmly right in the middle of the chase, and it's going to be hair raising action. So that whole series, these whole 10 races, when we get all these bonus points added up, it's going to be a completely different ball game. And this is, like I've said before, these are basically just qualifying events to get you into the chase, and then that's when the real racing really starts. That's when you got to lay it all out on the. You've got to take those
everybody
chances.
everybody drives different when it comes to the chase. You get guys like Texan and Chevy, they go a little conservative. And you get guys like me, I don't have nothing to lose, so we play real aggressive. It gets crazy in the chase.
Yeah, because you'll be looking at scenarios where it may not be about how many wins you got. It may be about how many third places you have. So
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Yep, that's what it's going to take is a lot of top fives in the chase, and a victory or two if you can get it. Let's go over here and take a look at the cut points, bonus points here as we stand so far. It was BSR Terry Scott pulling off again his first victory in the Cup Series. He got his first victory in the trucks at Kentucky, and he got his first victory in the Cup at Kentucky. So there he is, adding himself over there to that win list. And it looks like, let's see, where's Terry Scott's moved up to 15 total in the bonus points. That puts him tied for fourth place with a few other drivers. You got myself and Steve Looney still tied for the lead there with 19. Chevy in second with 17, and then Axel Foley, the only driver with 16 so far. And you got Pockets, Terry Scott, Hot Rod, quite a few others there with 15. I see a lot of 13s up there. So once again, there may be a little bit more of a spread in the Cup Series than the Xfinity, but there's still going to be a lot of drivers that are, within 3 or so points of the lead going into the chase in the Cup Series.
that's nothing. 3 points, that's nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah,
Like I said,
one
after
race.
that first race, yeah.
Yeah, the first race is what makes and breaks. That's you got to set yourself up in the first race. That's what you got to do.
I think the one thing about the Xfinity is there are a couple of road courses coming up. I don't know if there's one in the chase,
Yes.
but there are some coming up toward the end of the season, the end of the last segment. I'm hoping to do well there and maybe advance myself a little bit more as we go into the chase. Of course, if HB is able to make any of those, I'll be lucky to pull off a second place, I think. But I do believe Road America is one of them, and I think I gave HB a good run for his money with no fourth gear at Road America last year. So maybe I can keep my fourth gear this year and give him a little better run for his money at Road America.
Mid-Ohio is a road course. We have Watkins Glen, Mid-Ohio, and Road America. If I'm not mistaken, are 3 road courses coming up.
I tell you, you better watch out for that 21 of Steve Looney. He has shown himself to be an absolutely outstanding road course racer. He's flown under everybody's radar at road courses, and he's pulled off a road course victory this year, has he not? Yeah,
Yes,
at
yes, he has.
Sonoma.
Yes,
So-
he has. I've yet to see how Steve runs at Road America, but I don't think he's going to be any slouch there either. He's a great road course racer. We've got several in here in this league that are really pretty good at the road courses, and like I said, those are some of my favorite tracks. They're different. You don't get to see them very often. Only once a year do we hit any of the various road courses, and I have a lot of fun. It's always a challenge when you got to turn right instead of left.
Absolutely.
Well, and the big thing with road courses to the average driver is adaptability. You've got to be able to adapt to the road courses, and the quicker you can adapt to the road course, the better you end up running on a road course. So that's the key.
Well, I'm going to throw up our sponsors here. We'd like to thank Drunken Cow Jerky for their support. Also, Brian Voiles and Kathy Voiles at Voiles Trucking. Rick Craddock, Real Tech LLC. WLS Graphics, BSR Scar. A lot of great work he does for us. RJ Rusty and the Medicine Chest Pharmacy. And BSR Tyler and Rhoda over at Hello Sunshine Hello. We're very fortunate to have all of these sponsors and drivers that also have their own business and throw in their sponsorship for us. We have a great thing going on here at Bomb Squad. You're never asked for a donation to come and race here. Of course, they're always welcome, but between the sponsors that we've got and all of the great drivers here, everybody pitches in and really makes this racing great. It's awesome to be able to come and race. Never be asked for any money, any kind of donation. This league hands out more prizes than any league I've ever been affiliated with. All the great beef jerky that gets handed out from Drunken Cow Jerky, all the great trophies and plaques that are handed out that come in from Drunken Cow Jerky, Brian Voiles Trucking, Real Tech LLC provides the cup trophy, BSR Scar and WLS Graphics has given out some great T-shirts for the team series, along with a few other prizes. And like I said, it's just a great group. We've got some awesome sponsors, and we're all really fortunate to be able to race here, and have a great group of guys to race with every week. We all have a lot of fun, and we appreciate all of our sponsors and all of our great drivers.
And I got a T-shirt hanging in my closet from the Medicine Chest as well. I think everybody else who ran in that race does too. So
yes, that was
Yes.
from the Polar Bear 500, and
There, 500.
that was
Yes.
extremely generous. BSR RJ Rusty and the Medicine Chest Pharmacy provided a T-shirt to every driver who ran in that race, and it was close to 40. It was well over 30 drivers, over 30 T-shirts that they sent out to everybody who participated in that race. And that was, that's above and beyond. You couldn't ask for that from from anyone. It was really awesome, and I wear that shirt all the time. I love it.
Absolutely.
My wife stole mine. I was fortunate enough to be able to. That's one of the first BSR races that I was fortunate enough to be involved with, and yeah, I got one of them great T-shirts, and my wife stole it.
And
I'll
this
never get to wear it.
this is a not-for-profit league. All of the prizes, everything that people enjoy here is given through our sponsorships, through the support from our members who have enjoyed what we do, and we like other people to come in and be able to enjoy it, like Texan said, without being asked for a donation. And we do this because we love to sim race, and we do it for people who love to sim race it. And our sponsors, we can't thank them enough for all that they do. It's a win-win for everyone.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for this week, unless any of you guys have got anything you would like to add.
I'm good.
Oh no, we covered everything. We're good.
Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you, Pockets, Larry, Chevy, and HB. We appreciate you guys being with us in the booth this week. It was another great week of racing, and I hope all you guys can make it out this evening to race with us at Watkins Glen. And with that, we will see you next week from Eldora and New Hampshire. Hope you guys all have a great week.
Holla.
Later.